Hey, Gadget Rev now here. It's been a few weeks now and almost a month since Galaxy S25 Fan Edition was released, and I would say this is a pretty solid phone and a really good entry for Galaxy Flagship S series. Obviously, there are trade-offs, that's why the price is lower compared to the regular flagship they always launch at the start of the year, but Fan Edition is always a solid option for those people who wants to have the latest Samsung flagship. So today we will not dig down on the specs like what you've heard on so many YouTubers. This is more of a personal experience and critical review of Galaxy S25 FE. First, let's talk about all the bad and negative things I can think of when I test and review this phone. The first thing I noticed is the performance didn't differ from the previous generation. It is using Exynos 2400 processor. Last year it was Exynos 2400E, so there's no significant upgrade. In fact, it's the same performance as the previous generation. I still have the older Galaxy S24 FE, and I could say that on my everyday use, it doesn't really have a major upgrade in terms of performance. But honestly, day-to-day will be a breeze. This phone feels like a flagship phone, but again, it's not as good as the Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite of the family of S25s. The next minus will be the boring design. So there's a design change on Galaxy A56 with that pill-shaped camera module. I felt at that point Samsung will probably change the way the future of Galaxy phones will look, but on Galaxy S25 FE, they still borrowed the design from last year. There's nothing different, maybe just a color of the phone, but it's still the minimalist looking camera module on the left side of the phone looking at the back. Imagine, Pixel 10 has a bigger camera island now with that triple camera setup, and iPhone 17 Pro had an overhaul from last generation, so nothing really special here. It feels like you're using an old phone. And lastly is the same rear camera setup. So we have 50 megapixel main, 8 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra wide. There's not much of a change in terms of camera sensors. The only difference here is the selfie, which is 12 megapixel as opposed to 10 megapixel of last generation. But other than that, it's the same sensor, it's the same lens, and I believe this will be the same performance. Now, if we talk about the software manipulation of Samsung, we may find Galaxy S24 FE to be a little inferior than this year's S25 FE because they are notorious of downgrading the image quality of the phones. This is a bit controversial because some of the folks that's watching my videos are not sold out without idea, but we can test both phones and see what the difference are in terms of image and video performance. There are a few bad things about this phone, but there's actually a lot of positives. Starting with the build quality, it is protected by armor aluminum frame, and anytime a phone has a metallic build, you would feel like it's a premium phone and nothing is different from Galaxy S25 FE. Like its predecessors, Galaxy S23 FE and S24 FE, it feels really premium like a typical Galaxy S series. This really matches the S25 lineup. I couldn't feel any difference in terms of the build quality. Again, it's just the internals of the phone, most especially the processor, but in terms of the looks and the build quality, it has the same premium feel with IP68 protection and Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. Now, the second positive will be the affordable price. I'm jumping right to it. This will be subjective, obviously. It is around 900 Canadian dollars, which is around 700 USD, and that's a good price for an entry-level flagship phone. This will battle iPhone 16 and possibly Google Pixel 10. But in terms of everything you will get from this phone, the 8K video recording, the excellent build quality, and Galaxy AI feature, comparing this with Nothing Phone 3, which is around 1,300 Canadian dollars or around 1,000 USD, I honestly feel this will give you better value compared to the competition. And if you're not sold out with the regular S25 or S25 Plus, and even the Ultra, I think if you don't need the performance of Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite, then S25 FE is a perfect choice. The next plus is the brilliant AMOLED screen. So this phone has 6.7-inch AMOLED 2X with 120Hz refresh rate and almost 2000 nits of max brightness. This is a dynamic AMOLED LTPO screen, which means it will go from 1 Hz to 120 Hz if needed. This is the same screen as last year, and although there's no upgrade on the screen, still this is a really good AMOLED screen from Samsung. Like what everyone say, if it's not broken, then don't fix it. The next good thing is actually a cheap way to get into One UI 8 and get all that Galaxy AI feature from the camera like the audio eraser and remove the objects, summarization of notes and calls, and AI-powered search functionalities. You would get longer software support for around 7 years and all the Galaxy AI feature, and of course, you're using a phone with the Android 16 on One UI 8. And lastly will be the larger battery capacity. Last year it was 4,700 mAh. Now they added 200 mAh for a total of 4,900 mAh. It was actually slimmer form factor compared to last year. This is a really good move from Samsung. Personally, I just wish they retained the size of last year and maybe gave us 5,000 mAh battery, but again, I'm just nitpicking. At this point, I feel this phone will perform similar to Galaxy S25 Ultra, maybe a bit less in terms of the battery life because of the processor. But all in all, if you're able to trade in an older Samsung phone to S25 FE and get some promotional discounts, you can get this phone half the price of a regular S25. And with everything it offers from a really good cameras, awesome build, bright screen, and a larger battery capacity, Galaxy S25 FE is actually brilliant.